Hello, it's Mr. Dorsey again. We're doing more area and perimeter of complex shapes. So in this particular circumstance, we're going to do one that looks like a photograph, a picture frame, or the matting around a photograph, either way. I want to know the area of this. Forgive the quick scribbling, but I'm just trying to make sure that we're clear on what I'm after. Okay? So the area and perimeter of this. Now, how would I get that? Well, first of all, let's go with the area. I've drawn some blanks similar to what we did on worksheets in class. But how would we get that? Well, if I got the area of this entire thing, what I'm doing with the pen, if I get the area of that entire thing and I subtract this from it, the center part of the picture, that will give me the area of the yellow. That's kind of hard to visualize with that. So through the magic of YouTube and prior recordings, let's look at it now. Okay, so we have a 6-inch side on the outside, on both sides, 5 inches on the outside on both ends. That's the outer rectangle. And if I subtract the inner one from it, the 3-inch triangle, or sorry, rectangle, and a 4-inch side, if I subtract this white area from it, I will get the shaded area. So let's try that. Shape 1 is a rectangle. And I think the ones we did in class didn't actually have a blank for it, but it's helpful to write down what shape you're calculating. Now, my students typically are given the area of formulas. You just need to recognize what you're taking the area of. So in this case, we're taking the area of 2 rectangles, and I'm going to give you the formula for rectangle separately if we were doing it otherwise in class. But here, I'm going to give it to you for this. Rectangle is length times width, simply put. I'm actually going to put that in for both of them because shape 2 is also a rectangle. I'm just going to fill it in so that later we don't have to waste time on that step. Okay, so I'm going to do the larger rectangle for shape 1. And I'm going to substitute in area equals length times width. Well, we know the length is 6 inches. I'll lift it up so you can see it. 6 inches, the length. And the width is 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and look at those numbers and substitute them in. 6 times 5. So I know 6 times 5 is 30. I'm going to solve for the area, and I'm going to come up with 30 square inches for this one. I'm going to circle it. That's part of my area. That is everything. That's everything inside the boundaries here. Now I'm going to take this away. How do I do that? I'm going to subtract the area of this shape. So what is the area of the second rectangle? Well, let's do this. Area equals length times width. Let's substitute area equals, my length is 4 inches, width is 3 inches. Does it really matter which sequence you do width and length in? No. Recognize that length is usually longer than width, at least the way I'm looking at it. So, oops, that's a 4 and that's a 3. So if I substitute it in and I solve for it, I get 12 square inches. That's my second area. Now, if I add these two, you won't find the formula anywhere, but you know that I don't want to add these two in this case. Most of the ones we've done in class, you do. But I don't want to add these two. What do I want to do? I have the overall area, and I want to take this one away from it. I want to subtract this area. So I want to take, total area is my area 1, 30 inches, minus, that is 30 inches squared, minus area 2, which is 12 inches squared, or 12 square inches. And I get 18 inches squared. Hopefully that makes sense to you. again, I cut these out so that you could see this. If I take this overall shape and I want to know just the area of the yellow portion, I take the area of the larger rectangle minus the area of the smaller rectangle, and I get just the area of the shaded area, which is what I wanted, and that comes out to 18 square inches. Now, when it comes to perimeter, perimeter is simply the distance around the overall shape. So if I were to fence this in, what is my perimeter? Well, this was 5 inches. This is 6, this is 5, and this is 6. So my teaching assistant, I think, has a wonderful method for doing this. Deb likes to do this. She'll say perimeter equals, and she'll count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides. So she does 4 blanks, just like hangman. And these are added together. So I say 6 plus, I'm going to put a little tick mark on it, plus 5. That way I know I've already used it. Plus 6, plus 5. And that gives me a perimeter of 11 plus 11 is 22 inches. And that is the perimeter of the shaded area. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you and you are comfortable with it. That is how you find the perimeter of a complex shape where you're subtracting one from the other.